To really understand Notre Dame, you need more information than just the facts. You need the stories. Now, the job of telling those stories officially belongs to the university's strategic content team. That team leader, Andy Fuller, joins us now. Andy, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Terry, I'm glad to be here.
All right. Well, tell us about your group. What do you guys do in strategic content, as it were?
Yeah, so as you said, Terry, we're founded to tell the university's stories. So what we do is we look for the interesting work going on in the colleges and schools and other units on campus, and we try to elevate those stories by telling them on what we would call kind of the main university-owned media channels. So indy.edu, the main university social accounts, other sites that we create to kind of help us in that endeavor. And then the other thing we do is we work with our media relations team. And so as we're developing these stories on campus, we're seeing if people, external media outlets might be interested in them. So New York Times, Washington Post, that sort of thing. So trying to turn our owned media into earned media as well.
All right, and tell me the ways that you communicate digitally. You alluded to some, but every day you wake up, there's some new platform, I suppose.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I think I think what we're most known for is what we call a long-form story on indy.edu. So these are stories that are several thousand words of text in some cases, but they're deepened and I think enriched by the addition of things like really good video and photo and interesting web design and graphic elements as well. And we create those with our campus partners, but also our partners in marketing communications, especially for video, photo, and web development. So that's kind of the long form. Then the other thing, social media. As those tools have proliferated over several years, they've started to add features that are specifically designed for storytelling. Instagram, Facebook being chief among them. So we've had success there, in telling those stories as it makes sense on those platforms too.
All right, and your job obviously is telling stories, and you have some special stories about the universities to share with us. And I think we're going to get a graphic, take a look at some of these.
Yeah, exactly. So I brought just 3 to talk about. It's hard. If you want more, you can go to indy.edu/stories. But the first one I would mention is a story we called Serendipity. So this was about a group of engineering students who formed a chapter of something called Enable. And what Enable does is it makes 3D printed prosthetics for people. So this student group got connected with a family who adopted a young girl from China who was born without hands. And so the whole story was almost kind of centered around that girl throwing a softball with her hand. Really great story. It actually ended up with some national and international media attention, and the students and that girl ended up on the Steve Harvey show, which was kind of exciting for them. The second story I would mention is something called Cyber Sleuths. So this was a group of Notre Dame students who were sworn in as actual police officers with the St. Joseph County Cyber Crimes Unit. So it gave them obviously not only some really interesting work experience in digital forensics, but also I think a new appreciation for our women and men in uniform in law enforcement. So that one was a great one too. And then the third one I will mention is something we called A Bridge to Home. So this was about a Notre Dame law student who won a housing case for a local woman who was wrongfully evicted from her house. And the first meeting he had with this woman was under a bridge where she was living. So really great story of how this student helped her out and got her back into her home. So again, there's more at indy.edu/stories. So
and every one of the stories that you just mentioned are so compelling, and
right.
And there's a lot more of that out there, and I'm sure you guys are gonna be right on top of it.
Yeah, we try to be.
All right, Andy, good seeing you.
Thanks, Terry.
All right.